Our last piece of news regards Brock Lesnar. The Beast is a free agent, and there is a definitive and clear reason why he has been allowed to retain his free agency. The key reason for this is twofold. Firstly, he can continue to be a threat to Roman Reigns. He can potentially deal with unfinished business with Drew McIntyre or with the Hurt Business on SmackDown, but he can still always go to Raw. What I'm keeping my eye on is that there has been a discussion about a Brock Lesnar versus Big E match. Once again, to be entirely clear and transparent, this has been a discussion. It has not progressed beyond that stage to my knowledge. Now, Brock has been intentionally kept as a free agent so that he can float between brands, essentially go where he's needed and vanish for long periods of time. He may be gone for say 3-4 months and then turn up on the other side just because. Brock is very rarely going to be actually drafted because it just doesn't really make sense given that he does turn up basically as and when he wants. His recent return started with Roman Reigns. The storyline took place with Paul Heyman and continues to do so with him and the Usos. In this environment, Brock Lesnar is also a face. Long term, the WWE do not believe that Brock Lesnar's future is as a face, because really, Brock Lesnar is ideal for getting other people over, and the best way to do that is by throwing him against someone like Big E or Damian Priest. If he's a heel, that makes a lot more sense. He is a face now because Roman. At the same time, the WWE are still trying to talk him into a match with Bobby Lashley. Brock still has some unfinished business with McIntyre, or at least I should say McIntyre has some unfinished business with Brock, because there were plans for matches between them to happen again or to continue, and they never really panned out. The big key though is that this does leave options open for Raw. This does mean they can say, okay, USA, you don't feel you've got top stars, have Brock Lesnar for a few months. Oh, Fox, you're not liking that USA have got the big name, have Brock Lesnar for a few months. He can float in that regard. The question I have to ask you, and drop this in the comments based on your opinion here, would you be interested in Brock versus Big E? There's history there, even though Brock's history really was with Kofi Kingston. Big E did seem, at least briefly, to be Brock Lesnar's equal in a Royal Rumble match last year when Drew McIntyre picked up the win. Admittedly, Kofi Kingston and Rey Mysterio were involved at that time, but the focus, at least in Brock's mind, was on selling for Big E. That's a showing of respect from the Beast to Big E. I can definitely see this happening. Now, the WWE today highlighted what happened between Brock Lesnar and Kofi Kingston. And because we had what happened with Brock Lesnar and Kofi Kingston, Big E's not going to be happy with that. The fear that the same might happen to Big E is enough for an actual storyline for me. Now, the plan for Big E right now, as far as I've heard, is to smash through some big names. He's gone through Bobby Lashley. He's going through Drew McIntyre. Next up, you do have Seth Rollins if he moves across to Raw. But Brock Lesnar, maybe one too many for Big E. Maybe a name that's too big for Big E. But it also might not. Because Brock Lesnar right now is not the all-conquering dominator that he used to be. The expectation is that he's going to lose to Roman Reigns. And if that's going to happen, I certainly wouldn't be against him losing to Big E either. Jarrett says, yes, the story is great and Brock wins, and then we get Brock versus Lashley at Mania. I think Lashley's going to SmackDown, but if he stays on Raw, that would be cool. Buzzy says, I would love to see Brock versus E. It would be a huge match for E. It would. It would be a huge help to establish him as a top-level competitor. But would he win? That's the difficulty in this one. Brock Lesnar is Brock Lesnar after all. And Boss Pedal, welcome mate, says, what if Brock Lesnar is here to form a tag team with Big E and Big B? Does anyone remember B Squared? When Bull Buchanan was back up for John Cena? I just want to highlight that because Stranger things have happened. Loser says, all that for building for Roman versus Big E at Survivor Series. Yeah. Yep. Big E versus McIntyre will be the build for Roman versus Big E. After that, then that's when I've got my eye on things. I think Big E versus Roman for the Royal Rumble could be fantastic. Connor wants Big B versus the Big Dog. Sadists.